Ontario. That includes building the roads, highways, and transit that will get people out of traffic and where they need to go. Today, with President Trump's tariffs still hanging over our economy, our plan to build is more important than ever. Not just so we can get people out of traffic, but so that we can stand up for the incredible workers who are building our province and who would be impacted the most by tariffs from the U.S. Over the last few weeks, we've been laying out how our plan to build will support Ontario workers, and today's announcement is a big part of that plan. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our hardworking Ontario PC leader, Doug Ford.
Well, first of all, thank you, Prab, and thank you, Montu, and Mark, and Ray, and the whole team here, absolute champions. And I'm from NewCap. NewCap's an amazing company. I'm going to get to them in 1 second, but I just want to thank all the hardworking folks right behind me. That's what keeps our economy going. So how I met Montu is through the phone. You know, he was one of the, I'm behind 2,600 messages, so I apologize for not getting back to everyone right away, but I talked to Montu, and he told me the situation over at his company. They make great auto parts, but they've diversified now into a whole bunch of stuff. If you're ever going to get your brake pads changed, NRS galvanized brake pads, I'm going to show you these. These are incredible, and it's all patented right here. This is the ingenuity that NewCap and his great team have shown, and they have patents all over the world. I want to welcome our PC team, our candidates, Aris Babikian, candidate for Scarborough Agent Court. He's done an incredible job, and he's been pushing the Shepherd extension. I know we're doing that because of your leadership and Prab's leadership. We're building a complete loop on the Shepherd line that people have been waiting for forever. Prab meets Sarkaria, you just heard from, great candidate from Brampton South. He's done an incredible job on transit, investing over $70 billion on transit and roads and highways, another $28 billion. And that number is going to go up. But I'm thrilled to be here at NewCap, a phenomenal made in Ontario success story. I always want to thank all the workers here with us today and from the dozens of stops we've made right across this great province on our campaign. As I've said before, and I'll say it again, Ontario has the best workers on the planet, bar none. It's humbling to have the support of so many unions and representing hardworking women and men. The women and men building our province, growing our economy. I want you to know I'm going to give this everything I've got. I'll never stop fighting to protect you, to protect your jobs and livelihoods, to protect Ontario. This week, we received news of a 30-day pause on tariffs. While we can all breathe a sigh of relief, no one should breathe easy. The simple truth is, as long as Donald Trump is president, the risk of tariffs will never go away. Whether he implements them in a month, next year, or 2 years from now, he will use the threat of tariffs to get what he wants. Make no mistake, Canada and Ontario will continue to stare down the barrel of these threats and tariffs. We're in a period of unprecedented economic risk and lengthy negotiations. If and when they come, the Trump's tariffs will devastate our economy. They'll put hundreds of thousands of jobs at risk. Trump's tariffs have been a wake-up call for a lot of politicians who usually oppose building anything like the opposition. They don't want to build anything. They're coming around to the simple fact, major infrastructure projects create jobs, good-paying jobs. They make Canada a better and more competitive place to do business. From day one, our government has been hard at work on the largest, most ambitious plan to build in Canadian history, and I'll add North American history. We're a party that wants to get things built, whether it's the largest expansion of public transit in North America, getting to work on the Highway 413, or getting shovels in the ground on the Bradford bypass. We're the only party that believes in putting shovels in the ground. We're the only party that's making sure that we're putting bigger paychecks into the pockets of construction workers and hardworking people around this province. Building roads and highways is an economic necessity. Gridlock in Ontario costs the province's economy $56 billion every year. Without more transportation infrastructure, every 400 series highway, including the 401, will be at capacity within the decade. I think 401's already at capacity. The result, more trucks, more workers stuck in traffic. Now, as we brace for tariffs, it's never been more important to keep building. Tunneling the 401 is a project we've been talking about for months. In that time, let me tell you something I've learned. The easiest way to know if someone commutes on the 401, ask them very simply. Ask them what they think about building a tunnel. Hardworking mums and dads in places like right here in Scarborough and Peel and York and Durham regions, the people who commute daily on the 401, they know this is the busiest, most congested highway in all of North America. I think, Prab, they told us number 3 in the world. These hardworking families, they just want to get to work, get to soccer practice after work, get home without the headache of bumper-to-bumper traffic from one end of the 401 to the other. It's why our PC team is investing over $200 billion in our plan to build roads, build highways, build public transit, and today I'm making it official. A re-elected PC government will move forward with the largest infrastructure project in Ontario's history, Canadian history, and in North America. We're going to build the 401 Express Tunnel. It will be the largest tunnel in the entire world. We have the expertise, and we have the experience and the ingenuity, and most important, the best workers on the planet. The tunnel, which will include both vehicle and transit lanes, will extend beyond Brampton and Mississauga in the west, beyond Markham and Scarborough in the east. It'll be one of the largest, most ambitious infrastructure projects in the entire world. Critically, with the threat of the tariffs and job losses, building the 401 Express Tunnel will create thousands and thousands of jobs for many, many years to come and keep thousands of people working, good-paying union jobs. Building the 401 Express Tunnel, it won't happen overnight. In fact, a project of this size and ambition will take years, but we owe it to the drivers, to the workers, to the families to get moving, to invest in whatever it takes. When finished, the 401 tunnel will unlock billions in economic growth and make our province's economy more competitive. Building the 401 tunnel isn't the first step in our plan to build and protect Ontario, and its certainty isn't the last. I'll tell you, it will continue building. Certainly it's not going to be the last. To protect Ontario, to keep people working on a job site, backed by a strong, stable 4-year mandate, a mandate from the people. A re-elected PC government will ramp up our plan to build with $22 billion to speed up infrastructure projects. We'll build more, we'll build faster. A re-elected PC government will speed up construction on the Shepherd East subway extension. Thank you, Aris, for promoting that all the time. This goes all the way back to my brother Rob's days. To get shovels in the ground connecting the TTC's Line 4 with the Scarborough subway extension a year sooner than planned. We'll rebuild and upgrade Highway 401's eastbound lanes from Victoria Park to Avenue Road to Nielsen Road, and we'll add another lane at the Kennedy Road interchange. Lastly, a re-elected PC government will rebuild and upgrade Highway 401's eastbound express lanes from Avenue Road to Ward Avenue, including bridge replacements at the Leslie Street and Bayview Avenue interchanges. In short, our plan to protect Ontario, it's also a plan to build Ontario, to get Ontario moving, to keep people working, to make our businesses and economy more competitive, and ensure that drivers spend less time in gridlock, more time with their families. Friends, the weeks, months, and years ahead, they could be very tough. Mark my words, President Trump, he's on a mission. He wants to destabilize our economy and divide our country. He even says he'll use economic force to get his way. for the next 4 years. We're in a battle for the future of our economy, for the future of our province. On February 27th, I'm asking every Ontario resident for your vote for a strong, stable 4-year mandate to do whatever is necessary, to spend whatever is necessary to protect families, to protect jobs, to protect businesses and communities, and mandate to build Ontario's economy and protect workers, and mandate to keep us competitive, and mandate to clean up our streets and deliver better care. I'm asking for a strong, stable 4-year mandate to protect Ontario. Thank you, and may God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you so much.
We will now open the floor for questions from the media. Please come to the mic and state your name and outlet. Just a reminder, it's one question and one follow-up. First question.
Morning, Mr. Ford. Richard Southern, 680 News.
Richard,
how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, thank you. If you're asking Ontarians for their vote for such a large project, should you not be able to tell taxpayers how many of their dollars you're planning to spend? Sir, will you release the initial cost estimate for this tunnel today? And if not, why should Ontarians give you a blank check?
Well, I'll tell you what it costs. It costs us $56 billion every single year in lost productivity. We had a feasibility, and we're doing a feasibility study. We met with over 100 people, from engineers to designers to environmental people to construction people, and we're getting their input. We have the best people in the entire world. We have some of the most experienced people in the world in tunneling, as we're tunneling many lines and subway lines across our province, or especially Toronto and the GTA. That's what it's going to cost, but we'll be transparent as we pull these numbers together. We can't sit back and just wait. We know just in 5 years alone, it's going to be, it's over 220 some odd billion dollars that we're losing in economic growth. That's what it's going to cost.
Okay, no cost estimate. I want to ask you about another project that I know Torontonians want up and running, and that's the Eglinton Crosstown LRT.
Yep.
You know, I know you've said you're not going to open it until it's safe. Got
right.
that. But I also know there is some sort of target date here. Can you tell Ontarians when this is going to open if you're asking for their vote, sir?
Well, what I'm hearing from Metrolinx, everything's up and going. I guess they're doing training right now on it, and as soon as everyone is trained, I'm really confident that it'll be opening this year. I can't give you an exact day or a month, but it'll be open this year, and we're going to train people to make sure it's safe. And that's the #1 priority. So, you know, we're moving forward. But what is really positive, Eglinton West, the tunneling machines came out of the ground already. I think they were 4 weeks ahead of time. Scarborough's moving in rapid fashion. So is the Young North line. Our crown jewel, the Ontario line, is well on its way. The Hazel McCallion line, all through Mississauga and Brampton, is moving as well. I know the Finch line as well is moving. There's no government in North America that's putting more into infrastructure than what we're building in transit, $70 billion. Thank you for your question.
Good afternoon, Premier. This is Rami Botros, Oxygen Media. Thank you for these great projects on the road, but there is a big pain on the road also, which is the insurance payments.
That's right.
I got a lot of complaints about the high auto and home insurance payment, and actually it's part of it, of the controlling the crime rate or the accidents, and the other thing is to deal with the insurance company. Yeah. If you are re-elected for another 4 years, how can you solve this and make the payments, insurance payments, affordable to the Ontarians?
Well, a fantastic question, my friend. Do you know what's driving up the auto insurance right now? Are car thefts. You know, we're leading North America, which is terrible, on car thefts. And I'll tell you the reason. Because when they get arrested, these you know, nasty criminals, they get back in the police cruiser and they start mocking our police officers, saying, I'm getting out the next day. And do you know what's a shame? They're getting out the next day. The next federal government, no matter who it is, it's critical. You steal a car, you're going to jail for 5 years. You put a gun, kick someone's door and put a gun to your head, it should be mandatory 10 years. You know, you discharge your gun, it should be 15 years. Enough of these weak-kneed JPs and judges, and we have great JPs and judges, but we have some really weak ones that they don't do it once, 5, 6 times, and they're back out on the street. Let's continue making sure we throw them in jail. Our province is going to expand more jails to keep the bad guys out and keep our communities safe. That's what we're going to do, and we're going to put pressure on the federal government regarding bail reform, making sure they have mandatory sentences till the bad guys think twice before stealing a car, and we put hundreds of millions of dollars in resources to police services all across this province to keep these criminals out of our neighborhoods and keep our communities safe.
And what about the insurance company? Can you?
Well, then once the car thefts go down, they have to lower the prices. It's very simple. And we'll be monitoring the amount of money they're making. Thank you. That was a great question. Thank you.
PC Leader, sorry, not Premier. Hi, Barbara with QP Briefing.
Hi, Barbara.
Good morning. So the Prime Minister is in Toronto today holding an economic summit about Canada-U.S. relations. You have said that this is the main reason why we need the yearly election. But instead of being there, now you're here on campaign. So what do you have to say to the opposition who is saying that this election call is actually harming Ontario response to Trump?
No, you know something? I've been leading the charge in the country when it comes to talking businesses. I've talked to business owners. Montu's a perfect example. I return their calls. I return the small business calls. I return the large business calls. You know, a message to the federal government, enough's enough. I don't need to be in a room looking at the people I've talked to 1,000 times and, coming up with this idea. You know what the Trump administration wants? They've been very, very clear. They've been clear to me. They've been clear to everywhere in North America. They need to tighten up the border. It's been 4 days. The federal government says we're going to get a border czar. That's what the Trump administration wants. What takes 4 days to figure this out? Announce a border czar. We need to see the helicopters in the air. We need to see the drones in the air. We need to make sure we have the boats in the water. We need to see the boots on the ground. That's the action the Trump administration wants. They've stressed it to everyone. They've been transparent. They've been out there. Let's stop the flow of drugs going back and forth across the border. It's not one-sided. It's back and forth. We've shown with Operation Deterrence that they're out there, our OPP, our frontline greatest police officers in this province, anywhere in the world. We've given them helicopters. We've given them drones. They're putting boots on the ground. It's unprecedented. A provincial government is out there with their police services protecting our border. I love the CBSA officers. We're going to ramp them up. But to the federal government, enough of talking in the back room. Announce a czar. You want me to give you a recommendation? General Hillier. There's many. But my guy, what I think is incredible, and he hasn't called me and hasn't asked, this is a patriot. General Hillier was the one who stepped up during the pandemic. He was in charge of 16 countries in Afghanistan. He is, no nonsense. Get it done. So if the feds are listening, General Hillier would be great, or any general, or any former police chief. Let's get this done. Listen to the customer. The customer is the Trump administration, our largest trading partner in the world. If he's saying this is a serious crisis, let's show him. Don't talk. I'm sick and tired of politicians talking. Let's get the helicopters in the air, the planes and the boots and the drones and the ships going up and down our water. I'm done with the talking. Let's show some action.
Thank you. On a different topic now. So many mayors are saying that, removing the homeless encampments is essential. And they got disappointed that you proposed the bill to give municipalities more power to deal with that. And then you called the election and nothing changed. So are you still planning to put this forward if you get elected, and also use the notwithstanding clause to end encampments?
Well, absolutely. People are tired of this. They're tired of these so-called safe supply sites, that the federal government's distributing drugs all over our province. You wonder why we have a drug problem, and the federal government's feeding the drug addicts, and the drugs are getting onto the streets and they're reselling them. That's number one. The safe injection sites, they're terrible. They need to go. We've invested over $500 million on heart hubs that are actually going to provide detox beds, rehabilitation beds, shelter, and job opportunities. That's what we're doing. And we're going to continue moving along that line and support our municipalities because they're done with all this stuff.
Mr. Ford,
Yes.
Sean Jeffords, CBC
Hey, Sean.
Toronto. Wanted to ask you another question about the tunnel here today.
Yes.
You know, since you've announced it, we haven't, as Richard points out, heard anything about the cost of this tunnel or really seen any feasibility studies to suggest that it's more than a pie in the sky idea. What are voters to think of that, and how are you to assure them that this is actually a real, feasible, tangible thing that can be done?
Well, right away, I go back to it's costing us $56 billion every single year. I heard the same thing when we announced about 6 years ago about the subways. The opposition was saying, and I remember my colleagues, they were saying it was a napkin, back of a napkin. Well, sure, back of a napkin. We're going full steam, building the largest transit project in the world. We're going to do the exact same thing. We have the skill set, we have the expertise, we're going to get the tunnel built, and we're just waiting for the experts to come back and say, this is what it's going to cost per kilometer. And we'll get it out there. We'll make sure we're transparent, but I want to push this along. The days of dilly-dallying and talking, those days are done. We're going to make sure we get tunneling machines ordered. We're going to make sure we get the feasibility study done, and we're going to start moving. There's going to be dirt flying.
And Mr. Ford, a question for you on the role of organized labor in the campaign. You mentioned earlier in this press conference that you have received some union endorsements, private sector unions. Public sector unions are advertising against you. They are campaigning against you. They point out that you imposed wage caps. You tried to impose a contract with the notwithstanding clause. How are those not the actions of a premier that is anti-worker?
Well, it's pretty simple. I'm pro-worker, and everyone knows it. Anyone can say anything, but supporting frontline union people, supporting non-union people, factory workers, it's pretty clear. And I'm very blessed to have the support of unions like no other government in the history of this country. They're stepping forward. Do you know why they're stepping forward? Because they know there's one government that's going to protect their jobs. They're going to protect the companies that they work with. We're going to protect the communities. They have faith in us, and we're going to do everything we can. I will not spare a penny to make sure the people of this province are protected. That's why we have more endorsements than we have dates to announce these endorsements. I'm forever grateful for the working people of this province, and I'll always have their backs.
Hi, Mr. Ford. Jack Howen from the Trillium.
Hi, how you doing, Jack?
Good, thanks. How you doing?
Good.
All the other party leaders have committed to doubling ODSP rates. Your team pegged the cost at $21 billion over 3 years and called it unrealistic. Surely that's far less than the tunnel you're announcing today. Is it unrealistic, or is it just a matter of priorities?
Well, the way you take care of people on ODSP is the economy. Protect the economy, create jobs, more income coming into the provincial coffers. We've seen just the numbers came out. Even in these tough economic times, Ontario gained 39,000 jobs, 14,000 manufacturing jobs this month alone. Last month, another 24,000 jobs. We're going to create the climate and the conditions to create more jobs, create more income up to the coffers so we can take care of people on ODSP. We gave them a 5% increase. Then we did it based on the rate of inflation. I want to help these people. Do you know what I don't like? And I have no problem taking care of people for a little while on Ontario Works. Healthy, young people that are sitting on the couch watching the Flintstones. They should be out there. They should be working. There's still 200,000 jobs available here in Ontario. We can't afford that. Everyone should be out there when they have a chance. Apply. Now, if they go through rough times for a little bit, I get that. Not a problem. But there's people that have been on Ontario Works, welfare, healthy people for their whole lives. Well, these hardworking people are paying for them to sit on the couch and watch the Flintstones or the soap operas or whatever they're watching. That has to end because people behind me and everyone around Ontario is sick and tired of working hard, paying their taxes, and watching people not pay and take from the system. And we've created that climate and the conditions because the previous government chased 300,000 jobs out of our province because of high red tape, regulations, high electricity costs, and high taxes. There's 850,000 more people working today than there was 7 years ago. We're going to continue growing our economy to pay for social services across this province.
The Star reported this morning that the province hired 21 private investigators to surveil 11 different supervised drug consumption sites. How much did that contract cost taxpayers, and do you think that's a wise use of public money?
I think it's an excellent use of money. 21 people. First time I've heard about it, but if that's what they're doing, I want to make sure that money goes to heart hubs, and we're spending $500 million. Not safe injection sites, not safe supply that they can distribute their drugs all over the province and get people wired onto drugs. Unacceptable. I want to help these people. I want to give them a lift up. I want to give them a detox bed. I want to give them a rehabilitation bed. And I want to get them back into the workforce once they're supported.
Good morning. Alison Jones with the Canadian Press.
Hi, Alison.
How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Good. I want to go back to the tunnel
Yes.
again, because I just want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. You're saying today that you're officially committing to building it.
That's right.
But you're also saying the feasibility study is not done, so you don't have a cost per kilometer. You don't have any sort of cost estimate. So you're saying you are going to build it no matter how potentially astronomically high the cost estimate comes back as. Is that a responsible way to manage the province's finances?
What is responsible is making sure we stop the $56 billion a year we're losing in productivity. What's responsible is making sure the hardworking people behind me and across the province get home to their kids or take their kids to soccer practice or go grocery shopping or whatever. That's the responsible thing to do. We have ideas just going by what's happening around the world, and we can really use the tunnel per kilometer when it comes to the subways. We have a firm number on these. We're going to use that as a guideline, but the most important thing is to get the environmental studies done, to get the engineering plans and the design done, and then we can start digging. By that time, we'll be able to have a firm cost, and it's going to save, again, $56 billion a year, just in 5 years. That's $280 billion of productivity that we're going to gain. We're going to add to our GDP. Interprovincial trade, add to our GDP. All these little things are going to secure jobs, and it's going to secure thousands and thousands of jobs for years to come.
And I also just wanted to ask about healthcare.
Yes.
We've heard in the days before the campaign about your $1.8 billion plan to increase access to primary care.
Yes.
But that plan commits to getting 2 million more people access to primary care. We know that there are already 2.5 million people without a family doctor. The OMA says that'll soon be 4 million. Is this plan, and let me know if there's anything new coming on that score during the campaign, but is that plan an admission that it's not possible to get everyone a family doctor?
Well, what I know right now is we have the highest percentage of the population connected to a family physician. That's what we know. In the entire country, by the way. Is it good enough? It's not good enough. I believe in continuous improvement. We have the best person, as far as I'm concerned, in the entire country, Dr. Jane Philpott. She's nationally renowned as a leader. I want to thank Dr. Philpott for going and making sure over the next 4 years that we're going to connect every single person, every child, every infant, every teenager, every person, every senior connected to a healthcare worker. That's $1.8 billion we're going to invest. And we're going to also allocate money for future doctors. Think of this, 15,000 new doctors have registered, 100,000 new nurses, 30,000 new nursing students in schools right now that are going to graduate to be out there. Nurse practitioners, we're paying for their education. The nurses, nurse practitioners, we're paying for the doctors' education. We're building more medical universities, adding more medical seats. We're adding $33 billion to healthcare, which has never been done, adding $50 billion to build new hospitals across the province, 50 sites. These are staggering numbers that's never been done. We're sparing no expense. We're going to make sure we connect every single person in Ontario to a family physician. But thank you for the question.
Thank you. This concludes today's press conference.
Well, thank you very much. I want to thank the folks from Newcap. Keep going. We have your backs. We're going to protect every single worker and their families. This is an incredible team here. Thank you, and God bless you. Thanks so much.